Greater Manchester mayoral candidate Nick Buckley. Nick, thanks for joining us. If you'd won, this would be your responsibility. So there's been outrage at the clip that was shared online of this incident initially. Was that justified? It seemed to me just a one-sided attempt at making the Manchester police look racist.
The clip that was released, no one had control over. A member of the public took that clip, so that just went viral straight away. And when you look at it, of course, you go, Jesus, that's horrendous. But of course, there's always a backstory. You've got to put it in context. What worried me wasn't what's happened. What's worried me is how polarized we became within minutes of this going out. It was whites against Asians almost automatically. People who follow me, my friends, fell for this straight away. And this is just a warning of what is to come over the next 5-10 years in this country. Everything now will be racialized. Everything is looked through the lens of identity politics.
This is my concern, because if you transposed white teenagers coming back from some holiday somewhere for the people who were attacked, then they wouldn't be accusing the police of racism. They might still make accusations about violence. But it was the British Broadcasting Corporation that started asking questions if this is a racially motivated attack. I'm pretty sure, I don't like trial by media. I'm pretty sure no one is saying that now. It might have been, you could argue about proportionality in terms of the response. But when you see what happened beforehand with a clip which hasn't had anything like the coverage of the original clip, it's obvious that there was tremendous violence coming from the non-police, Nick. And if you put it all together, as I say, let's not pretend we're a jury. But it does seem to me it completely changes the aspect and totally dissolves any accusation of racism.
This follows on nicely from the conversation you just had with Harry about the politicisation of the police and Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson has the right messages. He's just the wrong messenger for the establishment. That's why they go after him. And this is the same case here. As in the BBC, the mainstream media looked at it and went, oh, a white man kicking a brown man has to be racism, because we live in a country that's institutionally racist. Racism is everywhere. And if you can't see racism, that means you're one of the racists. So therefore, this has to be racism. And it's this Americanization of our society, our problems. The BBC's been a disgrace now for decades. We know that. Same with Sky News. They're disgraceful. Hence why channels like this one and other channels are growing and growing and growing, because at least you have honest discussions here. At least you have different points of view here, where the BBC and Sky News don't. They just repeat the same mantras. UK bad, white people bad, straight people bad, men bad. And we're sick of it.
This police officer could face criminal charges. That's right, isn't it?
He could, but he won't. It's all changing now. So the reason why people reacted to this, normal people react to this, is because the main reason is they have no understanding of violence. They've never been assaulted. Their job doesn't involve them physically being hit and punched. They've never looked into the eyes of a violent criminal and seen the evil, seen the fact that they know they're not going to stop until they beat me to a pulp. All they saw was the kick and went, oh, that's not very nice in a civilized society. Well, we only live in a so-called civilized society because those police officers put their lives on the line every day. So we've got to put it in context. When you're an armed police officer or any police officer and you've just been attacked, and those men are still capable of attacking you, even though he's been tased, people get tased and jump back up again and assault people. You've got a split second to try to protect yourself and the people around you. And the police can use force. The police can use deadly force. It just has to be justified. And who justifies it? It's simple. Our procedures, our courts justify it along the line. So it's happened. Now we just let the procedures go along and we'll find out if that officer did the right thing. And I think he did the right thing.
There's quite a lot of chat. I can't read all of it, and I'm not going to try and do balance, folks, from the chat. Look at the chat yourselves if you want. Just a couple, though. Chris says what the clip's showing those two kicking off and breaking the policewoman's nose. That was a really good point. Just a bloke said, don't care what the backstory is that led to the policeman kicking the man in the head when he was already restrained and on the floor. But you've covered that, Nick. I'll come back to that. And Wat Womble says, surely the policeman's actions were escalated by the developing situation. His two female colleagues overpowered and the situation getting out of hand and dangerous. Adding all that together, and there is some opinion of mine here, folks. I'm not going to pretend. But I have been assaulted. I was most recently assaulted in Istanbul last year. But managed to get away from 7 against 1 in a rather remarkable escape. But when you're in that situation, you don't think about reasonable force. You work about maximum force to make sure that you get away. Now, I'm guessing from my own experience, the police officer didn't want that person who was on the ground to jump up and try and grab his gun.
Absolutely. You don't have time to think. You don't have time to think, oh, is that taser working? He's just been assaulted by 2 men. His 2 female. Let's talk about his female colleagues in a minute about do we have too many female police officers on the front line? Because they were like the Secret Service around Trump. They were chocolate fire guards, basically. He's having to protect his 2 female colleagues who are a hindrance. He's got 2 violent criminals. He's got 1 stood in front of him that he has to deal with in a second. And he's got 1 on the floor being tased. And he's thinking, I can't let him get up because it's me against 2. I'm going to kick him in the head. I'm going to stamp on his head while they jump on him and try to cuff him. And I've got to deal with this other violent criminal in a minute. This is all instinct. This is men protecting society. And even though, if it turns out, and we've not even seen all the footage yet, there's other angles. If this officer's done something wrong, I'm the first person to call for him to be sacked, because we don't need loose cannons. We don't need officers who overreact and see the red mist. We don't need them. They're a danger to all of us. But we're not at that stage yet. We need to let due process carry on.
How can the police do their job if they're always looking over their shoulder, trying to justify how they react towards evidently violent people? I'm not judging any. I saw what they did. Evidently violent people.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's what the police are dealing with every minute of every day. You don't know when you're talking to that person if they're going to turn around and punch you in the face. If they're going to... We had a case in Manchester the other day. Police saw get his car stabbed in the neck. This is what the police are dealing with every single minute of every day. You don't know when your life is on the line. And then sat at home in our armchair looking at Twitter, we have the audacity to say, oh, that's out of order. I wouldn't have done that. What do you mean you wouldn't have done that? You didn't join the police in the first place because you're a coward. And let's be honest, we're all cowards when it comes to it. We don't do the dangerous jobs. We expect other people. But let's be honest, we expect men to do those jobs, and then we criticise men for doing those jobs. It's disgraceful. Hence why our whole society is falling apart. Our army doesn't even work now. Our army is pathetic because of this sort of thinking. You know, we're going to start putting health warnings on the army's rifles. Firing this gun may damage someone else's health. That's the line we're going down here.
Last of all, you said you're pretty sure you won't get prosecuted. Why?
The other videos are coming out now. Public backlash. Politicians like Andy Burnham are quaking in their boots. He's not, I mean, we keep praising Andy Burnham, but the only reason we praise Andy Burnham is because he's not as mental as Sadiq Khan. But he's still a coward, and he's still far too left wing. Andy Burnham was sitting on the fence. He's got splinters now because of all the sitting on the fence he does. He should have come out straight away and said, I support my officers, because of his officers, and we're going to have a full inquiry, which he should have done. That officer should have been taken off frontline duties while it was investigated. He should have been suspended. He should have been taken off frontline duties, which is part of the procedure and understandable. But no, he's a coward as well. He's looking at the Muslim vote going, oh, my vote share dropped at the election because of the Muslim vote. I can't upset him anymore. He's part of the problem. He's also a coward.
Nick Buckley, thanks so much. We'll get you back once the story develops.
Did you enjoy that video? I think you did. Come on now, hit that bell, subscribe, comment. Let's build this channel.
I need more followers. I need more subscribers. Be part of the journey. See you soon.